Hey everybody, this is So Many Sequels. I'm Josh.
I'm David.
I'm Andrew.
What are you doing jumping out of turn like that, boy?
I'm really excited, I guess.
I know. I knew you would be. I'm Gary.
Did everybody say their name?
I think so.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, good. I couldn't remember because it was... All right, so
Snuck in
welcome to So Many Sequels. We're starting a brand new series with this episode. Do I want my microphone in the shot? I guess this probably sounds ridiculous.
You're very loud. You're very beefy.
Very loud.
Back there.
Very bassy and very beefy.
Good, very bassy. I can't go that low. We're starting a new series this week. We're going to talk about the Muppets. So we're obviously kicking it off today with the Muppet movie.
That's right.
The very first Muppet movie, all the way back in 1979. One of the oldest movies we've ever covered, though I'm pretty sure that Star Wars A New Hope is still the oldest we've ever done.
I believe so.
Everybody's thinking hard, but I think that's it. 1977 versus the Muppet movie just a few years later.
If you want to be technical, if you want to be really technical, Andrew's the oldest movie we've ever covered because he was made in like the 1920s.
That's fair.
You're
That's
old.
fair.
And we watch that movie on a weekly basis.
He
One
was
of the first
actually in the
talkies.
Muppet movie. Did you guys see him?
He was
Back
the
then,
agent,
he went by the
right?
name Fozzie Bear.
Oh, I was thinking Dom
Waka
DeLuise.
waka.
Dom DeLuise was Andrew.
So the Muppet movie is a breezy little film.
Yes.
Just a little over an hour and a half, starring, of course, all your favorite Muppets, as well as a host of celebrity cameos, particularly people who are a lot of them are now legend status, and at the time, a lot of them were just big stars of the time.
Mhm.
They weren't even legends yet. They were just A-listers.
Yep.
So, we got a fairly young Steve Martin in there. Richard Pryor pops up.
Yep.
Milton
Yeah.
Berle. Like
Bobby
you said, Dom
Hope.
DeLuise. Bob
Mel
Hope,
Brooks.
Mel Brooks.
Mel Brooks.
A lot of very funny people popping up in there. And this movie, so if you know about the Muppets, if you're a fan of the Muppets, you know that they're really into like meta humor.
Oh,
And
man, so much.
this movie really just like embraces that, because the entirety of the Muppet movie are the Muppets watching a movie based on how they got started.
Right.
Like it literally opens with we begin with the Muppets going into the movie theater to watch this movie, and then off we go on a Muppet-filled adventure. So, David, you have to answer last because you're the Muppet expert. How had anyone not seen this particular movie before? And if you have seen it, how long has it been? I'll start since I'm talking. I have seen the Muppet movie before, but it's been a really long time. I didn't remember a lot of it. Some parts are pretty unforgettable. You got the debut of Rainbow Connection, Kermit singing in the swamplands there, and I always have the meeting of Fozzie and Kermit in the comedy club like seared in my head for some reason. I just always remember that, where he's like, do you know any dances? I'm not gonna do a Kermit voice, and we already talked about how we should limit impersonations. But I always like that scene, but as opposed or outside of those couple scenes, I didn't remember much of it, so it was nice to jump back in.
Probably pretty refreshing in that sense then.
Yeah. Andrew, you have never seen this movie?
That is correct.
Wow.
Amazing. I told
it
you
is kind of impressive.
You don't remember watching it when you sat there with the rest of the Muppets?
Oh, I'm gonna kick your ass.
Herky, dirty. You're basically You're the Swedish chef.
Hey, you could be the Swedish chef. Okay, well then, you don't have much to say, I guess. Well, how did you feel about it?
I liked it.
I guess it was a good way to frame the question for you is, you don't have nostalgia tied to this movie. You don't have the rose-colored glasses. A lot of people, you can watch a movie as a young person and love it, and then as a grown-up realize it was bad. That's not the case with this one, but we don't even have that possibility with you because it's fresh.
Yes.
So do you feel like it like lived up to Muppet hype?
Yes.
Does it hold up over time?
I think it does because like it's a genuinely feel good movie. I mean, there's really nothing bad. There's really nothing bad to say about Muppets. I mean, even as an adult, you're just like Muppets are cool. You know, Muppets just kind of they don't age.
Yeah.
And like this movie, I say whenever I saw it, I just finished it up like 15 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So it's like really fresh on my mind right now.
Down to the wire.
No, it's timeless. It's just really timeless, and everything about it is just, I don't know. Like you look at it and you just kind of and you feel good. There's just nothing bad about it. So I love it.
Okay. And Garrett?
I agree for the most part. I don't want to jump into it now. I'll save it for later. But there is an issue that I have with it. But overall, this movie is just fun. Like, again, the Muppets are fantastic. It really is just, it doesn't matter what age you are. You just are transported back. Even if you've never seen the Muppets before, I feel like there's, and I mean, I can't just say that with absolute certainty, but I feel like if Andrew can watch this movie and feel like he's back in his childhood or just that innocent fun, that's really what these movies deliver. There's no real political issue with this one. It's just a nice, fun movie. And what I really enjoy about it is that, like, the dumb jokes that they do in this movie, they only work in the world of a Muppet. Like, when Fozzie's like, drakes are on the house, and everybody goes to the roof. That's stupid any other place but the Muppets.
Right.
Whenever they go, Fozzie, I'm going to need you to take a left at the fork of the road, and there's an actual fork in the road. Like, any other time, that would be stupid, but it's adorable, and it works for the Muppets. Obviously, Rainbow Connection, just knowing what that song is, it's just so pure and so sweet. It really sets the tone of the movie. And I think that whenever he finished, my response was, oh, that's nice. I'm in such a good mood now. I'm so happy. And also, left-handed Kermit is very important to me. Never forget, Kermit is left-handed. We need more left-handed musicians that are like that. So
Muppets.
this movie does really just put you in a nice mood for the most part. Again, I do have one issue with it, but I'm not going to bring it up yet. But it's just fun. It's just enjoyable.
Yeah.
Overall.
Okay. Well, David, it is time for you to hit your Muppet spiel.
I have no spiel. There's no spiel.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
No. But it is it is genuinely. I haven't seen this movie since I was probably like 9 years old. Haven't really rewatched it, but it is genuinely one of those movies that I think, calling it like, it's a classic. Like, that's just like the only way I feel like you can really say it. Like, it is a beautiful movie that is technically very impressive. When you consider that we're so kind of used to this, but when you consider this is like the first time, one of the big things that people talked about, reviewers talked about coming out of this movie, was we got to see the Muppets' feet. Like, they'd never been shown below the waist, and any movie that featured puppetry had never shown a puppet below the waist, because it's just like, how are you going to do that? They had Kermit riding a bike. They had Kermit's legs fully exposed in like the first shot of the movie. They had you see all these characters. You could see Fozzie and Kermit dance on stage. It was an amazing technical masterpiece in so many ways. Beautifully heartfelt, clever, witty, just really, really well done from top to bottom. It is. Oh, I do want to mention that bit with the fork in the road. It is. I find that genuinely funny, but for a tiny little extra reason. It's not just the visual gag of the fork. That's funny. It's the fact that when they pass it, like, so he says, turn right at the fork in the road, and when they see it, Fozzie goes, Kermit, and Kermit just under his breath goes, I don't believe that. That little aside of, I don't believe that. Like, even Kermit's like, this is absurd. Is so funny to me. I have more to say. I actually have a little quibbling issue with this movie too, but it's not it's really not a deal breaker. it's just a story issue that I kind of think is there. But hilarious. You're right. The meta humor, brilliant. That it's so funny that Mel Brooks is in the movie because it feels like a Mel Brooks film. If anybody else ever directed a Muppets movie outside of the Muppets, like performers or the people that have always done it, like Mel Brooks would be top up there in terms of a person who would have directed a fantastic Muppets movie.
Andrew, you were trying to jump in at one point in time talking about the technical aspect of it.
Yeah, the only thing, and sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
You didn't.
The thing I wanted to say about like the technical aspects of it, when I saw Kermit on his bike, I was like, wow, that's actually really incredible because you don't see that. And you don't see that today anymore. And that's just like
Happy Time Murders, thank you very much. That was a puppeteering event.
There's puppets and there's Muppets. Do not confuse them again.
Or you get muted.
You got the hands in it with the wires and the continue.
I don't know who handled the Happy Time Murders, but
They're no
I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna find out real quick.
But no, like the practical effects of the Muppet movie is just, it's so ingenious, and it's also a really great product of its time because we don't see that type of practicality in movies anymore. If this was made today, everything would be CG, and you wouldn't appreciate it as much.
Possible.
That's not technically true. I mean, it kind of is, but like they always keep the Muppets as Muppets. Like
right.
even the Jason Segel ones, they're Muppet. Like the Muppets will always be Muppets, and you have to give props to the team for keeping them that way because it would be easy to create them as CG, but it takes away from it if they do that. And you also have to give props and credits to those puppeteers or Muppeteers, if you want to call them that. Because they do a fantastic job of making you believe that they're real.
Yeah.
They're not, obviously, but when you sit down and you watch them, they feel real. It's the same thing and I know a lot of people don't like ventriloquists, but like it's the same thing that a ventriloquist does, is they have that ability to make that puppet or Muppet or dummy that they're using to feel real, and you forget that they're not. And that is a craft that should not go underappreciated with all of those people who do a fantastic job controlling those Muppets. Not just the voice, but the people who work the wires, who work the mouth, who work everything that you see in those movies. That is a really specified and diligent craft that they should be applauded for because they do a fantastic job.
Amen.
Some of the techniques they use in this movie are could be labeled visual effects. They are, but they're the very earliest forms of these moves, and they still do a lot of these techniques today, but obviously the technology's advanced. The scene where Kermit and Fozzie are dancing on stage in the bar, that's Jim Henson and Frank Oz wearing blue suits against a blue screen and dancing them. And if you look, you can kind of tell that the background's not quite this. It doesn't have the lighting of the rest of the bar. You can see that, and you can pick that out if you're looking for it. But that was like a groundbreaking thing to do then, and they've advanced on that since. And like that's a visual practical effect, if you will. And they did a lot of this other stuff. You can find the images online of Jim Henson sitting underwater in a large oil drum with a TV monitor, watching himself perform Rainbow Connection. It took him 5 days to do that. Now today they probably could figure out a way because of all that work to do that same thing in like a couple hours. But a huge undertaking and a huge amount of work went into making essentially the first ever feature film puppet movie. And I get, and I know, there were Muppets, but nothing I think had ever been done on quite this scale, and nothing had ever been attempted in terms of bringing a children's / family friendly television product to the big screen like this. So it can't be, from a technical aspect, everything was sort of on their shoulders for this.
Yeah, I dig it.
Yeah,
I dig it. what do we feel about the movie within a movie plot?
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah, I like it too.
It feels like honestly, I didn't remember it being that pivotal as a kid, but it really is, like, to the point of like them giving Electric Mayhem the screenplay so that they can get caught up. Like it's very woven into the film, the idea of like it being a movie within a movie. And I think it speaks to like Garrett said, only very few can get away with it. The Muppets are one of the few that can really get away with that and it feel right.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say something about. I remember thinking at one point, like, in any other movie, what just happened would be really unrealistic. And I'm trying to remember what exactly it was now. I can't remember it, but I was like, it's hard to even argue realism when the characters are like, yeah, here's, we're in a movie. Like, when the movie admits that it's a movie, it's hard to go, oh, that's not realistic.
Mm-hmm.
So. Yeah. I don't know. It like similar films that have come out that have done this. A lot of Mel Brooks films have played with that idea. Obviously, in more recent times, like Deadpool has played with that idea, and I'm a big fan of it every time I see it. I think it's just really a clever way to deconstruct, the Hollywood film.
Well, and I think that absurdity and meta-ness, kind of acknowledging what happens and what's going on, really works with the Muppets because, kind of counteracting what I just said in a positive way, as much as you believe that they're real, you also know they're not. They're not like trying to pass them off as like real things. Like, they are clearly Muppets because they're in a world with human beings. And so you see the difference, and they're not trying to play that, they're real animals or they're real whatever. Like, they're clearly Muppets. Mm-hmm. And so you are able to get away with that absurd type humor because you create this world where, okay, I can believe a few more things because of the fact that they're not real things, but because they're so believable that you just believe it too. It's this weird blend that really does only work with like Muppets or Sesame Street or those kinds of things where they take this clearly fake thing, put them into a real world, but do such a good job of making you feel for them and have such personalities that you forget, while also remembering whenever there's an actual fork in the road. It's like any other movie that would be stupid, but yeah, it makes sense because it's ridiculous. It's Muppets, of course.
It's the only other film that I think even comes kind of in the same vein in terms of making you feel like fictional characters and real human people are interacting is probably Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Mm-hmm. And making you really look past the fact that there's that difference in your performers. It just speaks to how well and like how good a job they do as like you said, as the performers, and how sharply written it is. Because like if you have a trouble with it, or if you show it to someone and they like don't get it at first, it doesn't take long for them to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always think whenever they try to do a meta, they use the meta platform. It either works or it doesn't. And I feel like in this case it works.
Excellent analysis, sir.
I mean, it either works or it doesn't. Either it does work or it doesn't work, because like sometimes the elements are there. It's almost got to be a comedy.
Yeah, it does. Usually it is a comedy.
Usually it is a comedy.
It'd be really weird if there was a meta drama.
It would be.
Like where like they just thought the guy stops for a minute and like talks to the audience.
But like
kind of offsetting.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. But I'm just saying, like, whenever it comes
yeah, go ahead.
When
it comes to the Western genre, it either works or it doesn't.
But anyway,
okay, you're done.
Oh
I need to make a quick footnote real quick before we continue, so that the accuracy police don't come after us. The Happy Time Murders is a Jim Henson Company production.
I thought it might be.
However, on a technicality, because it's made by an offshoot of the Henson Company called Henson Alternative, which is their adult-oriented film studio, and that was the first movie that they ever made for that label, and I would guess the last.
Yeah.
So is that under is this Disney? Is that a subsidiary of Disney as well, or is that like independently?
I guess it might be, because it says The Happy Time Murders was the first film released by Henson Alternative, a banner of the Jim Henson Company that specializes in adult-oriented content. So I would guess that if it falls under the Henson umbrella, then it falls under the Disney umbrella.
Interesting.
Just because where they work for they're a Henson Company. It doesn't. I mean, I'm sure the puppeteering was great. The movie probably wasn't. I never saw it.
I never saw it. I'm sure the production value on all the Muppet aspects is great.
Yeah, I'm sure the puppeteers, and I'm sure they're very talented people. I'm sure, I can't necessarily say the same thing for the writers of that movie, but
I'm sure it's the opposite end of the spectrum. If you have Muppets in the middle, which is kind of for all ages, you have Sesame Street on the bottom end, which is for preschoolers and young children. All the production design there is great. It's just clearly targeted for children. I'm sure the production value on Happy Time Murders is great, but it just may not appeal to everybody. But
right, then.
The Muppets movie definitely
addressed that. We addressed that. Okay, yes, the Muppet movie. Anybody? What's your favorite Muppet?
Oh, I was going to ask that question. I want to go last. Okay.
Oh, in the movie? Oh, thanks.
Yeah, in this movie, we'll save the overall Muppet talk for like whatever our last Muppet episode is.
Okay, great.
Once we get, because right now we only know these characters based on this one movie.
You know, when I was a kid, when I was like a little kid, it was Gonzo. But a lot of that was because of Muppet Babies. But if I had to say now, it's definitely Kermit. I don't know. There's just something so like genuinely likable about Kermit.
Yeah. So easily I would go with Kermit just because he's Kermit. Mm-hmm. But I like Fozzie Bear.
Yeah.
I feel like Fozzie Bear is like the perfect bro.
Yeah.
He's like
bro.
He's like, yeah. I mean, he's just like, he's like the best road trip buddy ever. So,
he is. He is a good road trip buddy.
You got to be careful, because when you say bro, I think like the stereotype of a bro, and I was like, that's not Fozzie Bear at all. I get what you're saying.
A couple brewskis, bro.
Yeah, no.
But like Fozzie Bear is just, you know, he's just an all around good guy.
He is.
Or a good animal. He's a bear.
Good friend.
There you go.
Yeah.
But you, Josh.
I'm also gonna have to side with Kermit on this one. He's just, it's the Muppet movie, but it's kind of the Kermit movie in a way. And so he really gets to shine the most, which makes sense. And while all the other Muppets get to make fun appearances, he's the one that you really stick with. So he's the best one in this movie.
He's the heart of this story, yeah.
Yeah. There's no Muppet movie without Kermit. There can be a Muppet movie without some of the others.
Yeah, that's true. It'd be really hard to pull off a Muppet movie without Kermit. Garrett?
Right.
Well, you threw a kink into what I was going to say whenever you caveated that it has to be in this movie.
Yeah.
So my overall favorite Muppet doesn't really have a big part in this movie, so I will save that for later.
Is it Animal?
Animal is my favorite in this movie. Obviously Kermit. Yes, I agree with everything that you all say. But for me, Animal is always so consistently funny and just over the top. And when he just like out of nowhere grows into this 40-foot monster and scares all those bad guys away, like Animal consistent, like outside of Kermit, in my opinion, Animal has the most memorable scenes for me where I laugh continuously And Animal is just really great. And I just kind of want to say something other than Kermit, because obviously, yes, Kermit is the heart of the story and everything.
True.
Like, I think out of this movie, I think besides him, Animal stands out to me as someone who really did a good job with what even little part he was given.
Yeah, even in a very similar vein, the rest of the Electric Mayhem band is very funny. Like, Dr. T, Zoot, like he's just being like
Joanna.
He's like, and I'm you're Zoot. It's so funny. Sleeper, Statler and Waldorf too.
They're also good. Yeah.
Hilarious.
Animal was
it's a private viewing. They don't want the public to see it.
Patterned off of Mick Fleetwood from Fleetwood Mac.
That makes sense.
When they were a young band in the 70s, Mick Fleetwood would be back there just playing them drums like a crazy person, and I always associate the band. I told Josh that I always call them Fleetwood Muppets, just because I know that about Animal, and I associate all the rest of the band as Fleetwood Mac.
That's pretty good. I want to make a brief mention of the bad guy too. Let's talk about Doc Hopper.
Colonel Sanders? Oh.
Yeah, Pappy O'Daniel.
Pappy O'Daniel.
I don't know what that means.
Oh, well, so the actor who played Doc Hopper in this is also the governor of Mississippi in Oh Brother Where Art Thou.
Oh.
Pappy O'Daniel is Pappy O'Daniel Flower.
Gotcha.
And I was going to I literally wrote down the joke in my notes. I wrote down, this movie has Pappy O'Daniel from Oh Brother Where Art Thou as the bad guy. And then when his credit came up later, I went, oh, that actually is Pappy O'Daniel, just like 30 years younger. I was so I was like that went from being a good joke to a sudden realization. He's just great, chasing Kermit down all over the country just to make him his spokesman for Frog Leg establishment. Who has a Frog Leg establishment?
I thought that the whole damn movie. I can't name one restaurant I've ever been to and seen frog legs on the menu. And I get it that he's a Muppet and he's a frog, and that's funny. But never, ever, ever have I ever gone to a restaurant to see frog legs, and I've never met anyone who goes, you know what I really like? Frog legs.
And that's what I mean.
Not far enough into the South for that.
And that's
not even a joke. I think that's really a Southern thing.
It could be.
It does seem like a very Cajun thing to do.
Oh, and did they say where Kermit is?
I think he's from obviously Mississippi area.
Yeah, he's obviously in a swampland area, so it's got to be Mississippi or Florida or something.
Yeah, that's what it was. Is like a frog leg establishment. Like that, like it's unrealistic, but it's also like the very fact that it's in a Muppet movie is like, well, you can't really call it out as being unrealistic. You're watching a Muppet movie.
Yeah.
They do ridiculous things all the time. It just fits so well. Of course, he owns a frog leg restaurant. If it was something more realistic, it wouldn't fit.
Yeah. It wouldn't make sense why he would want Kermit to be the spokesperson. Frog leg Kermit makes sense.
Makes perfect sense. And he's a dancing frog. He's very likable.
His legs be kicking.
An interesting aspect of this movie, which I haven't done enough research on, but the one of the actors who played. Do you guys remember the character Max? Mm-hmm. He was Doc Hopper's kind of right hand man there.
He was in Mr. Nanny with Hulk Hogan.
Was he?
He was.
What a legacy. He said
should have won an Oscar for that one.
The director. The director, James Frawley, was the first and last person to direct a Muppet movie that wasn't normally involved with the Muppets. He claimed that Frawley hated working on this movie, which is kind of shocking when you look at how good it turned out. He didn't like that he was having to work with the Muppets. He thought it was beneath him, I guess. And he said that the actor who played Max said that he sort of envied not ever getting to be in a Muppet movie again, because it sounds like when Jim Henson directed and when Frank Oz directed and the directors they had later, that it was such a great harmonious set that he kind of envied the sort of antagonistic set that he worked on. And I haven't done a lot of follow up to verify if that's how he actually felt, but I don't know why the actor would make that up. But an interesting premise, because How do you get signed on doing the Muppets and you don't like them?
Yeah.
Right. So we talked about our favorite Muppet. Is it too early in the show to talk about our least favorite Muppet in the movie?
Oh man, we're all gonna say the same Muppet, aren't we?
I don't know. I have no idea.
All right, on the count of
Andrew,
three. Right?
Andrew will probably pick like, I don't know,
Sam the
Sam
Eagle.
Eagle. Ah!
Sam Eagle's great. Kermit, does this movie have redeeming value?
Okay.
I'm not gonna do a full Sam Eagle impression, but that's the voice. That's hilarious.
I kind of feel like we're not going to say the same thing, but if you want to do it at the same time, we can try that.
I think Josh, you and I at the same time. I bet we say the same thing. Ready?
Oh, now you put pressure on me because I don't think I'm going to say the same thing as you.
Fine. Okay. You say it on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Miss Piggy.
Miss Piggy. Yes.
Piggy. Andrew, don't say it just because everybody else did. Be honest. Oh my God.
Dr. Teeth.
Oh. I don't dislike Dr. Teeth.
He doesn't. He's just saying it.
So,
no,
for real,
I like
though,
Dr. Teeth.
You didn't like Dr. Teeth. Wow.
Yeah.
Who even thinks of Dr. Teeth?
Andrew.
We had to turn the movie down. We had to turn the movie down when Miss Piggy was singing because it was so bad and annoying.
Yeah.
I know that's the point. Like, I get that. But it's like, oh my God, turn it down.
Well, it just took so fucking long. Like, oh my God. That song was the length of the whole movie. It was forever.
The last note she holds is so painfully like bad to listen to, and it's funny and not funny because like you want to laugh, but also you're kind of like, oh boy, how long?
I will never laugh at Miss Piggy. I don't like Miss Piggy. I hate Miss Piggy.
I think
hot take.
I think Piggy has improved in design over the years. I think she looks better than she looked in 1979 in terms of like her design. I found her to be awful. A little bit more annoying here too.
Mm-hmm.
Not in a sense that, I mean, I think that part of the point of Piggy is I feel like we all would be Kermit in that relationship. We'd all be a little bit put upon, but I found her to be kind of pulled back from where we know her today because now she's like so extravagant about everything, and this is supposed to be like very early Piggy where she's like a little bit likable, but compared to the rest of the cast, it's just like, I think I would love to see a Muppet movie without Miss Piggy.
Yeah, Miss Piggy and Kermit the Frog is one of the most toxic relationships in the history of movie and entertainment business. They're bad for each other. They're awful to and for each other. No, even Kermit treats her bad. Look, I was trying to be on Team Kermit, and I always will be on Team Kermit when it comes to Piggy and Kermit. But if you look at how their interaction started, and if you look at how Kermit acted throughout this whole movie, he kind of was rude to Miss Piggy a lot. When they first met, they went to the car dealership and invited the Jack to go to Hollywood with him. If he met a Muppet, he was like, "We're going to Hollywood. You guys want to go to Hollywood with us?" Mm-hmm. And when he met Piggy, he was like, "We're going to go get some ice cream. Do you want some?" And then she misunderstood what he was saying, mm-hmm. and thought that he invited her to go to Hollywood. And then when she came back with her bags packed, he was like, "Why?" Yeah. He didn't ever invite her to go. We're
inviting you to Hollywood.
Yeah, he didn't ever invite her to go. When she got in there, he was kind of like, "I don't really want you here. Why are you here?" And then she started to being like, "Oh, Kermie, I love you so much." And he went, "Well, maybe I do like her." And then they went to dinner. So he didn't like her until she started fawning over him. And then she left him. Yep. And then he was rude to Steve Martin later. Like, they're bad for and with each other. They're bad.
Maybe.
It's a toxic relationship.
Yeah, I don't really know. It's a really love-hate relationship because they don't have personalities that seem to go together at all.
No.
Well, it always seems like Piggy's holding him hostage and he's trying to escape, but then like Stockholm syndrome kicks in or whatever, and that's the way that their relationship works. Like, there's a moment of clarity where he's like, wait a minute. And it's like, oh no, I love her.
It would be one thing if, and I feel like we'll have to watch a lot of as we go through the movies, we'll have to try to make an active note of this because I never noticed it really in any of the shows. it would be one thing if like Piggy regularly seemed to have like a good heart underneath all of her over the top divaness, but like it takes her 0 seconds anytime she ever like lets her guard down to like go right back to whatever it was. I remember on the ABC Muppets show that they had a few years ago, like anytime she would kind of like do that, she could let her guard down. It was like one episode later, she's like completely forgotten whatever lesson it was she learned. It was really kind of it's a pattern that's gone on for over 40 years now, and I feel like it's kind of run its course in terms of I don't know what it is about Piggy I'm supposed to find appealing. She's funny from time to time, but I feel like compared to other Muppets, I feel like other Muppets have shown a lot more diversity of character.
I think I was thinking about that too. I was like, why is Piggy there? Like, what purpose does she serve? And I think and this is maybe a stretch. I think that for me, it is her undoubted confidence. And I think that one of the things that's endearing, even though I don't like her, about Miss Piggy, is that she is very confident in herself. And that is a good thing. And that is a good message for a lot of young girls, because Miss Piggy really is the main female Muppet. And for her to have that confidence in herself and be unafraid to do these things and go after what she wants, that's great. But the counter to that is that she has absolutely zero self-awareness. And that is where it kind of cuts off that confidence. Is sometimes it's great to have that confidence, but sometimes you have to be aware of, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe let's try something else. This is not working, and this is not the way that I should be acting. I can have that confidence, but I can't act this way. So there are elements of her that are good to take away, but they're immediately countered by her actions. So it's really tough for her, in my opinion. Andrew, why do you hate Dr. Teeth? Give us a good analysis of Dr. Teeth there, why you hate him.
Oh, please don't.
I just didn't find it interesting.
I just
didn't like it. You got a gold tooth. I don't know. You don't.
Dr. Teeth. Wait a minute. That we hated Dr. Teeth? I'm sorry. I must have misinterpreted the question.
I said, what's your least favorite Muppet? How do you misinterpret that?
I'm sorry.
But you thought I
asked
we
talked about our favorite Muppet.
You gonna get it.
What do you think we were talking about? Best supporting Muppet?
Because I like Dr. Teeth. Oh, shit. Okay, so my least favorite Muppet. Honestly, my least favorite Muppet in this one is
it's Miss Piggy.
I would say Miss Piggy, but like Miss Piggy would be too easy.
Steve Martin.
Oh man, I don't know. I'm just gonna go ahead and just go with Miss Piggy, just because.
Yeah.
Have y'all?
I apologize. I misunderstood the question.
That's all right.
This is a question that Andrew might get, but who knows? Have y'all ever heard of the song "It Goes Like It Goes" by Jennifer Warnes?
I don't think so.
Okay, so not one of us has heard of that, but that's the song that beat Rainbow Connection for Best Original Song at the Oscars.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But we've all heard of Rainbow Connection. Yeah, look what the Academy awarded.
But didn't Rainbow Connection also win a Grammy for Best Film Song or something like that?
I think
Best
so.
Song and Film.
Let me double check.
So
it won. Well, so the album, the Muppet soundtrack, the Muppet movie soundtrack, won a Grammy for Best Children's Album.
Oh, okay.
Rainbow Connection was nominated at the Grammys, no, it was not actually. The song Rainbow Connection was only nominated for a Golden Globe and an Oscar.
Oh, okay. They didn't get the Globe either?
No, the Globe probably also went to... No, the Globe went to The Rose by Bette Midler.
Oh, man, another... Okay. Hey, if you're going to lose to one of the better songs out there.
Fair enough.
The Rose by Bette Midler. What a classic. Conway Twitty as well.
Kiss from a Rose.
What movie was that song from that won the Oscar?
Norma Ray.
That's an
Right.
important
It was a very
movie.
popular song, or very
Sally
popular movie.
Field.
Yeah, that's an important movie.
Who also won an Oscar for that?
Talking about Rainbow Connection a little bit, what a great song to kind of book in the movie.
Yeah.
It's very poetic. It's very approachable. Like, it's not like that. The concept isn't hard to get if you're a kid or an adult. Like, it's a very approachable, very fun to sing song. Like, it's not too slow. It's not too fast. It's a great way to open the movie. And I kind of think that if they had ended the movie with like a different original song, that Rainbow Connection would just be kind of there. But it's a great way to start that movie and end it, and it just keeps coming back. People love Rainbow Connection.
Well, it's got it's a good song to start with. I mean, and then it's got a good message. Like, the messages in this movie, like when you break it down, are good. Is like, go after your dreams, and then share your dreams with your friends. Like, I think that is an explored message, where one of the things that Kermit came to struggle with was he was like, I never promised anybody anything. I just wanted to go do this and invited you to go with me. Right. And then when the car broke down and they realized they weren't going to get there, Kermit started feeling very guilty, not only for himself, but his friends. And he kept saying, I never promised anybody anything. But he was feeling really guilty because he was like, if I would have just stayed in the swamp, I would be the only one that's upset. And then he, has this conversation with himself of like, you believed in this dream and they all believed in this dream and you shared this dream together. And that is a great thing. And keep going for that dream that you all believe in. And then when he has that interaction with Hopper at the ghost town and he's like, your dream is to have this frog leg restaurant. Who are you going to share that dream with? And then it didn't work, but Animal grew and
it was a heartfelt moment.
But it was a very good moment, and it was a very it was a very strong message of like, go after your dreams, but also don't do it alone. Surround yourself by people who believe in you and support you and want you to succeed. Yeah. That is a good thing. Wanting people to succeed is a good thing, and we don't get enough of that currently.
The movie could easily be, and I don't know if this is what they really intended or not, the movie easily be interpreted as a metaphor for Jim Henson's career, that Jim Henson is Kermit, and he started his career with very little and created this fun idea that slowly grew and grew, and he found more friends. He found more people like him, people like Frank Oz, people like Steve Whitmire, and these other people who had the same kind of passion he had, put together this incredible team, and they did exactly, to an extent, what happened in the movie. They came together, created something unique, and the world appreciated it, and they made people happy, which is what they wanted to do all along. So when Kermit at the beginning of the movie, his nephew Robin asks him if this is how the Muppets really got started, and he says something like more or less or just about. I kind of really think about it as being a metaphor for not the Muppets literally, but also the performers, the creators that would bring it all together. And it's great. Do you want to talk about the things you didn't like, Garrett?
My main thing, we already did. It was Piggy
and
the relationship with Kermit. And I really do want to need to point out that Kermit was incredibly rude to Steve Martin Waiter.
Steve Martin Waiter was very rude himself.
No, he wasn't. It started when Kermit was rude. He sat them down, and then he goes, "You can serve us now." That's rude. And if I were Steve Martin, I'd be like, "Hey, you know what? I'm a dude who's doing this. I sat you down. I brought out this thing, and then you rude to me? No, I'm gonna be rude to you too, Kermit."
Steve Martin comes in with his hot pants as a waiter.
That's
I want it to be noted that he's wearing hot pants, and it's never addressed. He's just wearing
the uniform. He's wearing his uniform.
In the credits as Snooty Waiter. He comes in and he's like, "Oh, try this wine." He goes, "Oh yes, it's the best champagne from Idaho," or something like that. He opens it, he drinks it.
All of this came after Kermit looks at him and goes, "You can serve us now." That is rude.
That's not true. I don't know.
Yes, it is.
I'll have to rewatch the scene, and we'll get back to you another time. But the point is, they were both being very rude to each other, and it was hilarious. Steve Martin's
very
cameo
funny.
was hilarious.
But I just needed. Everybody thinks Kermit's this wonderful person, and he is. But he was very rude to that waiter.
Kermit has a dark side.
He does.
Kermit has anger issues.
He does. He was rude to Steve Martin.
They've curved that back over the years, but Kermit has an angry side. I risked getting a curling iron thrown at me over here, but my only real quibble with the movie is Gonzo's song, I'm Going to Go Back There Someday. There is a part where Gonzo has a nice little musical number. It is a beautiful song. Very wonderfully sung by Gonzo. And I think that the song, to me, just feels misplaced. It feels like if Gonzo's going to have this great musical number, it didn't feel like it was organic to that moment. And it feels like a song that really should be in a movie that's more about Gonzo. It just kind of felt, to me, a little out of place. And maybe they could have done a better job introducing it. Maybe they could have done something that built a little bit more to it. Or done it closer to after his little fiasco with the balloons. Because it comes a good while after his whole flight with the balloons. And, you kind of see the sparks flying his head of I'm going to be a stuntman. Before that, he just wants to be the world's greatest plumber. I'm going to be a stuntman. I'm going to fly high. I'm going to do all this stuff. But it's so far removed from that him singing the song about going back to the sky and going back up there someday and all this stuff, it's doesn't feel connected to the moment they're in, which is we're broken down and Kermit's having this crisis about, this guilty conscious moment. I don't know. I love the song. I feel like it wasn't placed right.
Okay. I got to start it back up again.
Oh no! Start what back up?
While
Martin and Kermit?
Yeah, while David was talking, I watched the scene,
Oh,
and Steve Martin is in fact rude first.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yeah, it goes. Kermit goes, waiter, and he goes, what? And then it's a whole thing, and then he goes, you can serve us now.
Okay. All right. Still, if Kermit were truly Kermit, he would have been bigger. Doesn't change the fact that Kermit was rude. But I will concede.
I got a Garrett concession that.
Hey, if someone gives me evidence otherwise, then I'll change it.
Yeah, it is.
I want to be proven wrong 90% of the time.
He is rude. Steve Martin is very rude first.
That's true.
I believe that.
All right.
Going back to the song, I didn't necessarily. I get what you're saying, but I didn't care enough to have that reaction to it. I agree that it was a very sentimental song, and it seems like if someone's going to have the sentimental aspect of it, then it would be Kermit or even Miss Piggy. Those two have a bigger part to play than Gonzo.
Just at that moment in the movie.
Yeah, because Gonzo really didn't have much to do in this movie. He was just kind of there.
Yeah, Gonzo's kind of in a lot. Until sort of the later half of the Muppet movies, I feel like Gonzo. That's where Gonzo really starts to shine. People really took to Gonzo in the late 80s and 90s.
It's the nose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Gonzo's good people. Okay, well, should we go into the box office portion? We're beginning to approach an hour of episodes. So
yeah, let's wrap this up. So in addition to the box office stats, I had one little other thing that I wanted to note. In 2001, I believe it was, the Muppet movie was inducted into the National Film Registry for its cultural significance. Nice. I think that's pretty good. Some interesting facts about that. The Muppet movie is the only movie based on a TV show to go into the National Film Registry, which is kind of nice. I would say it's the only animated film. I feel like puppetry or stuff like that could be considered animation, but interestingly enough, so many sequels has reviewed
into the National Film Registry.
No, we have reviewed 11 films in the National Film Registry. I don't imagine you guys would guess them. I'll just read them off. You probably could guess at least. You probably Star Wars, right?
Lord of the Rings.
No, that's interestingly enough not in there. Eligibility for the National Film Registry is the film has to, when it gets nominated, the film has to have been out for 10 years. So the newest film in the National Film Registry right now is Brokeback Mountain. It doesn't mean that like after the 10 years, that's when like those are the only movies that are available. They could nominate a movie from like 30 years ago at any, like at any time. So the newest film in the registry is Brokeback Mountain. But the films we reviewed are The Matrix, Toy Story, Clerks, Silence of the Lambs, Back to the Future, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Halloween, Superman.
Wow, we're doing all right.
Huh?
We're doing all right.
Star Wars, and one of the only sequels in the National Film Registry, Empire Strikes Back.
Wow. Look at us.
We have a big, here's the list of movies we will eventually do. There are a lot of movies that got great sequels. I won't read these ones off. We'll wait till that day comes. But we've actually got several of these on the wheel right now. So we're going to be getting to some of what Congress considers, or whoever it is that makes these official decisions, culturally significant films. All right, so moving on to the box. I just thought that was an interesting note. We've obviously done a lot before, but we almost never bring that up.
Yeah.
So the Muppet movie debuted in 1979, a very long time ago. It debuted. Hang on, where is this?
For Andrew, it feels just like yesterday.
I misplaced my thing here. It debuted, I don't know. Oh, here we go. It debuted the weekend of June 22nd in the United States, May 31st in the UK. Those are its two, it's only two, I think, the only two markets in which it was released. I don't have weekend numbers. They didn't record them the same way back then. And I dug around. I can't really find anything specific. But the Muppet movie would go on to make a total of $65.2 million worldwide, which is a pretty good number. I think, well, it made 65 in the US. I think it actually made a couple, like 10 to 15 more in the UK. Skipping right along to the year 1979, at the domestic box office, your highest grossing film was, is this correct? Yeah. Your highest grossing film was Kramer versus Kramer, which was the only movie to cross $100 million that year. At number 2, you had the Amityville Horror. At number 3, Rocky 2. At number 4, Star Trek: The Motion Picture. And at number 5, Alien.
Amityville Horror made more money than Rocky 2.
That's true.
Wow.
And number the Muppet movie is actually the number 10 movie that year on the domestic charts, bringing in $65 million. Just behind Moonraker, here's another Steve Martin movie just above it, The Jerk. The Muppet movie managed to beat out, I haven't ever heard of this movie, The Electric Horseman for that number 10 spot. And let's see. On the worldwide scale, the numbers are mostly the same, but the Muppet movie drops down to the 11th spot. And the highest grossing movie worldwide that year was James Bond's Moonraker. That's really about it. There's not a whole lot of stats this week. I don't really remember who won the game, but if we want, we can move right on to the Letterboxd score.
I believe it was Jersh.
Josh, did you win Iron Man 3?
Sure.
Don't remember.
I don't remember.
I have a tiebreaker saved.
I'll be the winner. That's fine.
And I have a tiebreaker saved for us just in case.
Okay, cool. So the Muppet movie. There's really no intro to this because there's nothing to discuss. So I guess just start throwing your guesses out there on your 0 to 5 scale. On what you think Letterboxd, the community, has given this movie.
I'm going to go 3.9.
Oh, shoot. I'm going to say, man, I was going to say 3.8.
Wow. Okay.
We're going to be right on top of each other.
Yeah.
You guys are high. I mean, I was going to go good, but I wasn't going to go that high. I'm going to say 3.5 exactly.
I can't imagine that many people are giving this low scores.
No, I can't either. I can't either.
Yeah.
I just can't.
Too low.
Yeah.
You went too low. David also went a smidge too low.
Oh, no.
Just a smidge, though, because Andrew wins by getting it correct with 3.9.
Oh, snap.
Right at 3.9.
Yeah, 3.92.
It's got to be one of the best 3.9 movies on Letterboxd.
Possibly.
So let me get out my score sheet here. A needed win for Andrew. Andrew moves up in the overall Letterboxd scores to tied with Garrett and I for 5. Josh remains in the lead with 6.
Dun dun dun.
Been a while for Andrew to get a win. A bit of a drought in Nicholsville over there.
It's been a while.
A little bit. Andy Land and needs some refreshing.
I'm gonna give it a 3.5 as well. I think it's a great movie, and that is where it falls on my scale. Whenever I watch this movie and describe it, I say great, and that is 3.5 on my scale. And if I use that word, and it is the word used on my star scale, I got to give it to.
Well, under that logic, I give it 5 full stars. This movie is perfect.
I knew it.
Perfect. What is there wrong with it?
Miss Piggy.
One song is a little out of place, and Miss Piggy's annoying.
No,
She's supposed to be.
One character's out of place.
Perfect.
Okay, Andrew.
Nothing wrong.
I will give it 4 stars.
Ooh, right in between us.
Okay. I am also going to go with Letterboxd and give it 4 stars. On my scale, that is excellent. I do think the movie's excellent.
Yeah, it's all of those things and perfect.
All that, though, gives our average a 4.12.
Hey, that's pretty good.
So
yeah, I like that.
4.
I like that.
Well, so the way we're doing this is we kind of reset the wheel last time, and we each put movies that we want on here, and David's was the Muppet movie. But David has not told us which Muppet movies we are going to cover. So what's our next movie going to be?
So, unfortunately, and this is not my fault. This is on Disney Plus. All of the Muppet movies are on Disney Plus except for one. Why it's not on there, I'm sorry. You'll have to rent it on Amazon or somewhere else. It is The Muppets Take Manhattan. That is our next Muppet movie. So if you want to join along, please do. The Muppets Take Manhattan. We're going to skip over The Great Muppet Caper. While a very good movie, I may watch it anyway. We're going to skip that one and go right to Muppets Take Manhattan.
Hey, I don't want you to answer this question, David, but I'm going to ask this question because I just want to know. Are we going to do Treasure Island? Because I love that movie because Tim Curry's in it. You don't actually have to answer it if you don't know, but
maybe I won't. Oh, do you want me to answer it? You told me
No, you don't have to. You don't have to.
Oh, I'll answer it. Hell yeah. We're going to do Treasure Island.
Okay.
So the plan is, I can lay out the plan for you right now. So the plan is to do Muppets Take Manhattan. This was the one directed by Frank Oz, I believe. And so it's considered by most a really good one. It is the one where in storyline, I don't know why they go back and forth on this so often. In storyline, Miss Piggy and Kermit get married. Then we're going to do Muppet Treasure Island because it was one of the last Muppet movies in the 90s. Or one of the last Muppet movies, I should say. It wasn't the last Muppet movie, but Muppets from Space is very difficult to get a hold of. Then we're going to do 2011's The Muppets with Jason Segel. So that's the plan, is to do one from the 70s, one from the 80s, one from the 90s, and one from the new millennium.
Okay,
I dig it.
And then, for you longtime fans, watch out, Christmas time. You never know what might happen.
We know.
Also, Muppets Take Manhattan is on Prime Video if you have Amazon Prime.
That's true. It's on Prime Video.
Neat. Well,
all right. Sorry,
we will watch The Muppets Take Manhattan. You can also go watch The Muppets Take Manhattan on Prime Video or wherever else you want to watch it. And find us online. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, so many sequels. Letterboxd, also so many sequels. Find us, follow us on all those places. Subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe in whatever podcast app you listen to the most. And share. Like, subscribe, share. The 3 pillars of this show, I guess.
That's right.
Yeah, we'll be back next time. Till then.
I do believe this podcast does have redeemable quality.
Couldn't even make a Rainbow Connection joke.
You didn't even do like a Fozzie Bear impression?
All right.
Waka waka.
Waka waka.